Hey people, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be all about the Bandai 1144 scale real grade RX93 V2 Hi-v Gundam. This thing is an absolute beast of a model. It is one of the bigger versions of a 1144 scale RGs. This model is a far cry from the last model I made, which was a P-Bandai version of the version 1 RX78. Cannot remotely be compared to that. So grab yourself a brew, strap yourself in, let's build it, and then I'll give you my thoughts on the model. Okay, so this one is down as one of the RGs that you need to build if you're into Gunpla. This one is the RX93 V2 Hi-v Gundam. It's an absolutely sort of sought after, wicked model. I managed to get hold of this one through IntoTheHobbyverse over in sale. Mega chuffed to pick that up. I think I paid about £43 for it, which is decent. No shipping with that because I picked it up from the store direct. But yeah, really excited to get this one made. I've heard really, really good things about this one. So, box is a bit bigger than normal. Your sort of normal sized Gundam box for a 144 is that kind of size. So already kind of getting an idea that we're going to have a bit more plastic in this than I normally see. Some of the details and the actual artwork on the box is absolutely stunning. We've got some cool bits on here as well, just showing some of the articulation and some of the detail. A really cool pose with it in the kneel position, which I think is really cool. And yeah, without much further ado, I will take off these plastic bits and we'll get it up. Okay, so first thing then, so a load of grey sprues. These are the G sprues. It looks like we've got the inner frame basically all nice and grey. Some of the F sprues, yeah. Put that to one side. Already quite weighty. There's a lot of there is a lot of plastic in here. That bit's broken up into bits of what looks like body paneling and a couple of coloured sprues. So this one, similar to the other models, has got an injected system where they've managed to actually inject several different colours into one. That is the helmet and obviously part of the shield there. And then we've got a load of these light blue, it's kind of like a lilac colour accents, which are quite cool. And then a goldy looking sprue for some of the other bits of accents. This one, much of the same, some more of those round cylindrical parts, which I think are backpack parts, and some more bits of armour work, which is cool. This one, we've got the dreaded stickers for this. Now I have actually ordered a set of decals for it, so I have got the water slide version rather than these. I am going to use those. And I think this will be very similar to the RX782, where I won't actually have to use too many of these kind of colour changing or colour correcting patches. But we'll see how we get on with that. I might use a couple of them, I might leave them completely off. But yeah, got the water slides for that one to replace it. I like the blue colour. That's quite, there's a bit of a contrast between the sort of the purpley kind of colour and this blue. That blue colour is quite nice. So we've got two sets of them. These are the H2 runners and the I2. So we're looking at some silver accents as well. This one's much the same, some silver accents. These are the fin foils that go onto the back of the model as well, so that's pretty cool. And then we've got our instruction manual. So to give you an idea of how big that box is, that instruction manual is a normal size. Have a quick flick through that. Usual Bandai stuff, so all about your snipping techniques and bits and pieces for how to build the model, looking at your side snipping, looking at the double snip process, and looking at some undergating as well. This is the sprue map, just to give you all the details of the different bits of sprue. Just make sure that you're checking against this to make sure you have got all your sprues. I will do that off camera and just check it. And then it's got noted on there the decals, usual system of instructions. So it looks like we're building leg units first with this one. That's quite cool. So yeah, so it looks like we build the model as the body unit with the head, and then we'll start looking at the backpack and weapon systems. This one's got quite a lot on the weapon systems on the back. I don't know the difference between this and say the normal Hi-v Gundam, but this one feels like more of a I don't know if it's more of a space type one where they go into space or something, because it seems to have those big canisters on the back as well. But that looks all good. The fin funnels obviously have their own bit for making them, and on the back we have got ourselves the decal orientation, so where each one of these decals is going on each part of the body. There does seem to be quite a lot, to be fair, but hopefully that all matches up with what we've got for the water slide decals. I will show you what I've got in that when the time comes, but I think without further ado we'll start getting that process made. Let's make the legs and start it off. Okay, both legs now made. It took a while to make these. It's taken about 2 hours in total to get to this point. But the legs are fully made, so both the skeleton inside and the outer armour. And the detail on this is absolutely mega. Lots of different contrasting colours. Colour separation on this is wicked. I wasn't that impressed with the colour of the actual gold pieces, but this, when it's actually on the model, it actually looks okay. You've got very good articulation through the leg. Loads of little bits that are moving, and including some areas where there are open hatch gimmicks, he says, but it's a bit fiddly to get them open. But you've got a lot of articulation within the fins in the back of these legs, and loads of detail. Quite blown away by it, to be honest. It really is, yeah, it really is sort of a pinnacle of Gunpla. When you look at the version 2.0 to this, even that feels like a massive leap, and we're only on the legs at the end of the day. I was expecting big things out of this. So far, even building the legs, not been disappointing, even though it's took sort of 2 hours to make the legs. It's been pleasant enough to make it. I've enjoyed the process of doing it, and the detail on it is, yeah, just absolutely amazing. I'm going to go on to the waist now and then build the rest of this up. For size reference, I've got a normal RX-78 there in the same scale, and it's going to be considerably bigger looking at this. So yeah, really excited to see how big this is going to be when it's done. Pretty epic. The waist skirt is made. The last sort of step is to put the legs in, and then I think click these on. So I'm going to put the legs into place and then get these side pods on. Again, level of detail with this in such like a small area is mega. You've got all these different vent areas. It's built up of 3 different sandwich sections in this, and yeah, it's just mega. At the back here you've got areas that have, again, some open flaps. There we go. Yeah, in the back here we have some areas which are like open flap gimmicks, which is cool. Really kind of adds to that open flap gimmick that we've seen with a leg before. That is literally a leg that's closed. That's a leg that's got all the hatches open on it. But yeah, just the level of detail again, absolutely mega. And size wise, this is going to absolutely dwarf the standard 1144 scale model. So we're only at the waist here, and we're already at shoulder height for where the original RG is. So absolutely massive, great detail. Gonna go to the chest section now and crack on with that. Really excited how this is turning out so far. Okay, fairly quick and easy step to make the chest unit. Really nice little bits of detail in here. So the little bits of reserves I had about the colouring for some of the metallic parts is not really coming true. I quite like some of the metallics now. The more that they're mixing in with some of these more colourful sections like the blue and the little bits of the white armour, it's actually working quite well. Everything goes together really nice, so not too tight in the actual construction, which is good, but everything firmly in place. That leaves us with the ability to put this onto that lower part of the torso, and the next part we're going to be making will be the arms. Both arm units made. Quite a simple process, but nice levels of detail in the arm units. They're not symmetrical, so there are slightly different, I don't know if you say loadouts, it's just different in the way that they're made up. But you've got a different style effectively of arm unit. This one contains the butt of the, I wanted to say lightsaber, but it's the beam saber for the Gundam. That's accessible by clicking that and that in place. It just opens up by pushing that down and opening that. That's quite cool, quite a good way of keeping it and storing it. Hand options are good. We've got a closed fist, which is pretty boring, and then an open hand. But the open hand looks really nice. I don't know if you can see that, but I like the general way that the hand is distributing the fingers. It just kind of looks really cool. So shoulder armor made as well. So we're going to pop that onto the model and get that on. That's in, and they look quite nice. There's only a couple of things to note with this, sort of quality wise. Everything is generally undergated and is cut off in really good places, but there are some very small marks that might be picked up on the camera where the nubs have been cut off and side nubs. Just something to mention, this is me being massively nitpicky, bearing in mind that this looks absolutely fantastic so far. Colour separation is good. General use of plastic and engineering to put it together is really good. Not too complicated in actually assembling it, but the actual finish to it looks really complex and looks really cool. So yeah, we're going to go on to the head unit, which shouldn't take too long to make, and then we're going to be making the weapons and the backpack side of it. And it's still, it is really coming together. Size wise, this is far bigger than the 782 RG. So yeah, really cool. Let's get on. Head done. I really like the head design on this one. The actual pieces for it are not problematic to clip, but there's a couple of areas that you've got to be careful of how you cut these, and you effectively have to do a bit of side cutting. It's annoying. They should be undergated really, and that would stop you from having any kind of indentations or marks in that area. I'm not quite sure why they aren't undergated, but there are several separate pieces. This cowl that's on the rear of the helmet is separate, and I just like the overall look of this one. Frustratingly, instead of having a system like the version 2 RX 782, where you've got colour separated eyepieces from like the background, this is just one clear piece which goes behind the head and deals with the camera lens, both here in the front of the helm and at the rear. And it's a sticker system to be able to get the eyes sort of showing through and glowing, and that's a bit of a shame, to be honest. It's a bit of a missed trick, but the actual general look of that helmet is really cool and obviously matches in with the whole aesthetic of the model. Now if we clip that in place, yeah, I do like the way that it is different from the other RX models. Yeah, it's really unique in that respect. So we'll go on, we'll do the backpack and put the weapons together, but this is really starting to come on. First stage of the backpack made, you don't make the fin funnels with this part, but we've got what I think are some sort of jet thrusters or massive fuselages on the backpack. This part here, which seems to articulate and move around, not massively sure what that does, but it looks like some sort of thruster. Similar vent on the back of here, and this pivots out and moves up and down. But what's really cool about this is also housing the beam saber hilts, so that's really cool. I quite like this. The MGSD wing Gundam had the beam sabers within the wings, which I thought was cool, and this is very sort of similar. Keeps it very neat and makes it look just that little bit more slick. Hopefully makes it so I'm not going to lose them either, which would be perfect. But this is generally looking like an RX-93 at this point. I think it's really cool. I'm looking forward to doing the fin funnels on the back. We've got weapons to make. We will get weapons all done, fin funnels all done. I'll show you what it then looks like, and I will give you my thoughts. I think what we're going to do is hit this up with some Gundam liners, and then I have got a set of water slide decals as well. I'm going to get that done. So weapons first. Let's see how we get on with this bit. Okay, so to run you through what we've got then in way of weapon loadout, you've got a beam rifle, which is this one here. Very sleek, very slick, not quite like any of the other ones that I've seen on, say, the RX-78 or other similar Gundam. But yeah, equally as cool. Then we've got the standard rocket launcher. I say standard, but again, the same thing with this one. This is slightly different in its design. Still got that big bit at the back that carries all the rockets in, but nowhere near, well, there's not actually as much detail in that, if I'm honest, as was in the original style ones. So we've also got the shield, which I like this. I like the multicolored aspect of it. I like the stripes. I like the way that it ties in with the body. But again, nothing too detailed here. There's a little bit of detail in this part, but there isn't actually anything to massively write home about, other than those stripes and effectively the pattern on it. These parts here, the fin funnels, are quite cool. So it's a bit tedious to put them together, lots of nubs to cut off and to get it all right. So plenty of parts. This bit that's inside here is similar to the internal skeletons of some of the other RG models, and actually has an ability to flex and move similar to those joints. So this is sort of a weapon version of the fin funnel. And then to stow the fin funnel on the actual model, you have an ability to push it like this, and then that fin funnel, obviously you've got one longer side than the other, that fin funnel then connects into the backpack system like so, and then you've actually got that tied in with the backpack, and I think that gives the RX-93 its look. It's very much a larger scale model, especially with having those fin funnels on the back. But I'd actually say this is really close now to an MG size model. It really is quite big for an RG. This has got to be one of the bigger ones. I've heard the new Gundam is quite a big one, but scale wise, as a 1/144, this is a really decent size. I feel like you're getting the bang for your buck really with this. So without further ado then, what I'm going to do, I'm going to, off camera, I will ink this up with Gundam pens. We'll get some detail into it, we'll get the decals on as well, and then I'll give you my final thoughts on it. I'll give you my review. Okay, so thoughts on this one then. This is probably one of the best quality kits that I've built alongside the version 2. I think this one came out in September 2021, so it's older than the version 2. This one is the 36th RG that Bandai have made. The version 2 is the 40th, I think, from memory. So, quality wise, this one has got great plastics, It's got a good deal of side gating and under gating to the model. In general, the quality for this is really, really good. I did find that there actually are some side nubs that need cutting off where I think it would have been better to have something like an undergated system, particularly in the shoulder pads where you can see some of the nub marks from there. I'm not particularly amazing at cleaning them up, and I don't prepare my models afterwards with a matte clear varnish, and that might actually remove some of those issues. So if you do that yourself, then that's absolutely fine. The way that I prepare these models for you for review is that I make them out of the box. I do tend to go away from the stickers, which I will come to, and go for water slide decals. But in general, this is a made out of the box model, and this is what they effectively look like with just a bit of Gundam marker and some water slide decals. I would class that as minimum conversion work, and some people go the whole hog and paint this. So as a quality model, it is really, really good. Size wise, it is bigger than the version 2. I think fans of the anime will recognise that the RX-78 is actually a smaller scale model anyway from the Gundam animes, and this one is naturally bigger, so it's bigger in the anime is what I'm getting at, and it's actually bigger in real life. This is not far off the size of an MG model. Different plastics colours are nice, the colour separation is good on this as well. There is a good use of silver, gold, white and blue plastics. All of those are very good quality. I would say the only thing, if I'm being really picky on, is the metallic colours, so the gold and the silver. I'm not a massive fan of how they look on the sprue. On the model they look quite good. So where those parts are gated, the gold ones are fine, they're all undergated from memory, and wherever they would be side gated you can't actually see anything. But where you get the silver parts, there are parts on the model, such as on like the armour skirting round the lower torso, where those parts, similar to the shoulders, just could have maybe been undergated or maybe thought about a bit more. There might be an engineering process as to why that's taken place, but it does spoil a little bit of the look of the model if you're getting into the fine detail and you're looking close. But in general, quality wise, this is a brilliant model. It looks fantastic on the shelf. I'm absolutely impressed with it. So bring me on to value for money. This one cost me £43 from IntoTheHobbyverse over in sale. I picked it up in person from the shop over there. If you've not looked at IntoTheHobbyverse, maybe give them a look. They are a UK-based company. The dude that's in there is a Japanese guy who imports things in from Japan, so he does get hold of some P-Bandai stuff and other bits and pieces. I am not sponsored by him, by the way. I've enjoyed going into his shop and I've enjoyed buying stuff from there. I have got stuff cheaper from there than pretty much anywhere else. I think for £43, I think this is really good value. You're getting into territory where you might be getting some of the MG models at that kind of price. But because of the size of the model, because of all the intricacies of all the fin funnels, the backpack, the fuel, like the fuel canisters, or at least I think they're fuel or jet canisters for the backpack, it's considerably bigger than a normal HG or RG model. So that 1/144 scale, to be honest, is a bit misleading. It's quite big, this, and I think value-wise, you're getting a lot of model for that money. So for this one, box art is cool. Instruction manual, absolutely wicked. Usual kind of Bandai quality. Easy to follow, nice short steps, and it never felt laborious. Sometimes I make mine. I don't make them necessarily all in one go. I kind of make mine over a couple of evenings, and it has really nice steps where you can complete part of the model and stop. I kind of love that for Bandai, and I think it's kind of underrated, because not a lot of people have 7 or 8 hours to just sit there from start to finish and make a model. The fact that you can build part of it, stop, and then almost put it down and come back to it, it's got value on its own. Size comparison wise, this thing is more sort of sat in between an MG model and an RG model. When you look at this in comparison to the RX-782 version 2, it's massively bigger. The head of the RX-72 only really comes just below the chest of the RX-93. So again, the value wise, it's a bigger model, it's more substantial a model. What I would say is it's not quite as intricate as the RX-782. This one was quite an easy build, went together really well, no massive issues in getting parts together. and it followed a really good process. Probably leads me to the instructions. Instructions in typical Bandai fashion are really, really clear. There's no real ambiguity with the instructions. What I would say is I've refrained from using the stickers from the kit, and there are parts where through the build you sort of push towards putting stickers in certain places to do with areas where effectively you would see certain nubs in the elbows and bits. It's kind of why I haven't mentioned them, because the kit does allow you to cover some of those parts up, which is fine. But I hate stickers. It's just not, they're just not for me. And when we look at a quality kit like this, I think £43 is a fair amount of money. I don't think £43 is nothing. So I would always look to put a water slide decal kit on this model for the purpose of making it look as good as it could. And I still think that the stickers cheapen that somewhat. So that brings me on to posability. This thing, to be honest, would be better with a stand. So this model seems to be really articulate. I'm quite happy with getting a couple of poses out of this. What I would say is because of that large backpack system, it's kind of oddly weighted towards the rear. Like some of these, I've made a couple of these models now where they're more weighted towards one side of the other, and it would definitely benefit from being on a stand. There is a compatible stand. I might get that before finishing this video, to be honest, and if I do, I'll show you what it looks like on the stand and what poses you can kind of make out of it. As we know, I'm not the greatest Gundam poser in the world. I do enjoy a good Gundam pose, but I'm certainly not able to get some of the extremes of that done. But I'm really happy with the way it poses. I'm really happy with its presence on the shelf and how it looks. It's quite an imposing RG. It would be quite a good focal centerpiece. If you were only going to get the RG series, this one's a must buy, which brings me on to the conclusion really. This one for me is a no-brainer. Price wise, it is more expensive than the average RG, I'll have that, but I think you're getting value for money, and I think you're getting an iconic Gundam that's just completely different to anything else. With the RX-78s, there's obviously loads of different ones of those, but I've barely seen any different ones of these. There is obviously the option to go to MG, there is the option to go to the Ver car for the MG, but this is a really, really wicked standout RG model. This is probably one of the best ones that's in the actual range. It isn't my solid favourite at this point in time, but I would say it's at least on par with the version 2, but I think the version 2 still has that place in my heart that it was the first RG model I made, and I was really amazed and taken back by it. There might be an element of me actually being a bit desensitized to how good some of these models are, but having come from that awful P-Bandai version 1 model from like 2010 effectively to this one in 2021 when this has been produced, the models have just come on leaps and bounds, and the version 2 RX-78 is not a fluke. It's clearly a sort of step up in the engineering process as they've gone along, and it's just, yeah, it's an absolute no-brainer. I loved making this. It brought the joy back into doing Gundam models. Even marking it up, didn't take long to mark up. It hasn't got lots of that detail in it that requires a load of marking. It was quite a pleasant process. I would say that doing the water slide decals has been a bit more laborious. There's a lot of little decals for this one, and I imagine it would be exactly the same with the stickers. The water slide decals are always a direct comparison to the stickers themselves, but I tend to put on the amount of decals that effectively I want on the model rather than being restricted to doing exactly what's on Bandai's list. So I tend to put the stuff on that I want to put on. But yeah, this is really, really good quality. So just to finish then, I would say if you were on the fence about buying this one, just pick it up. I don't think you'll regret it at all. Get it made. Don't leave it in the box for ages. I left mine in the box for quite a while, kind of savouring that moment of making it. I certainly don't regret it at this point. Having built that awful P-Bandai one, this one's brought me back round to absolutely loving Gundam and being excited about making the next model. So, what did you think of this one? Have you built it yourselves? Is what I'm saying ringing true with you guys? Is there anything else we should be sharing with the community with this one? I was really, really impressed with it. I'm not blindsided to some of the small missing bits of detail, but this is a really, really good model, and I'm chuffed with it. If you like the video, please do click the like button. It means a lot to me. Got over 1,000 likes now on the channel, which I'll be honest was a bit of a milestone that I was really, really chuffed that I managed to get across. Thank you. thank you for all the support. Thank you for all the nice comments that you've put down and questions that you've asked. I hope I answer all your questions, the best of my ability. But yeah, just really thankful for people getting involved in it. If you are one of those people who's watched a couple of my videos, do me a favor, click the subscribe button. It costs you guys nothing, but it does show YouTube that actually what I'm doing is worthwhile. I'm trying to build towards that 1,000 subscribers. That is my next goal. I mean, to be honest, the goal at the minute is the 500. That would be really, really wicked. I think we're at 420 at the time of recording this video, which I'm like over the moon about. But I would like to get to 1,000. You could be part of that journey if you wanted to be, and you can sit along and watch me build some of these models and give you my honest opinions and thoughts on them. I don't pull punches in my reviews. If I thought something was rubbish, I can't hide behind it, unfortunately. My face doesn't tell any lies with it. So I hope you guys are looking after yourselves. I hope you're getting some modelling done. Just take care, and I'll see you soon.